Hello guys, welcome back to the part 2 of this beautiful dressmaking. So at this point, I had already cut all the parts of the fabrics that I needed, and then I went on to run a gathered stitch on it. So this is going to be the second layer after the net. So I'm going to be having a base for the net, then I also have a base for the bridal satin. So this is going to be underneath the net. So it is on that net that I'm going to run all my pleats. I'm going to be having all the scrunchies attached to. So I went on to do the gather of this. I cut this as a circle. If you are familiar with how to cut a round circle skirt, like you are cutting a ball skirt, so this is how to cut it. Use the 360-degree. This is a full 360-degree skirt. So I went on to do the gathering, and to do the gathering, it is very easy. Just make the settings on your machine and put it on the loose stage. All right, so after that, I also went ahead to gather my net. So this is the net that I gathered. I did the cutting of the net to be 3 times the waist of the dress that I'm making. So I used waist 21 for the, that's 21 divided by 4, that would be 5.5. So that was what I used for the dress, because it's for a 1 year old, so but I wanted it to be very full, so that was why I did this. And then I ran a gathered stitch on it, and then I adjusted it to the accurate size of the waistline that I want to use this for. So it's just like that. Once you set your machine to give you the gathered stitch, it is very easy to do. The stitches are going to be loose. It's on your sewing machine. Different types of sewing machine, they all have different type of technique for the gather stitch. Most of the time, it is usually the loose stitch. On this machine, it is tagged as number 5. So there's a round button for the stitch setting. Set it on stitch number 5. Once you set it accurately, your gathers will be well done. So after I had already done this, then I went on to continue with the sewing. I did the upper part of the top. Then I am just marking out and stitching the belt. So it's going to be having a belt. So I went on to cut a 1.5, yes, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, that's on fold. That's like 3 inches. I cut 3 inches on fold, and then I cut it out to give me the V pointed end. So this was what I did here. And after doing that, I inserted it and turned it, yes, to the right side, and inserted it into the stitch, the top that I had already made. So I made a top, like a beginning part, the upper part. Yes, this is where we are seeing the upper part. I also went on to insert it there. All right, I want you to watch this carefully. So this is what I did. Yes, you can see I just placed the belt in between, like a sandwich. I placed it in between the side seam. So whereas it is facing the right part of the fabric, and then I ran my straight stitch, which I've already marked. So the same thing I did for the other end. I placed the belt in between the side seam, and then I did a straight stitch on it. It is very easy. I've done some other videos where I basically explained this on how to place belts, on how to place belt in between your sewn fabric. So this is for a dress for a baby girl. You can also apply it if you are making any kind of belt. So just place it along the line that you want to stitch it. So there you have it. All right, so the next thing is for me to mark out the waistline. So I was going to put it on I was going to put the lower part of it on it. So I needed to mark it out and notch the center so that the placement and the arrangement will be accurate. As you can see, I did for this also. I located the middle point and I notched the center. So just notch it. Once you notch it, you are safe. So after I had already done that, what I went on to do now is to place the net over the bridal satin. So place the net over the bridal. All these places I was trying to ensure that my measurements are accurate. So it is very expedient. Like when you are doing your measurements, make sure that it is accurate. It is very important. So the net part is going to be having two layers. One is long, which is the one that is beneath, and then we have the short one, which is going to be at the topmost part. So the first layer is going to be the bridal satin. Then after that, you place the longer version of the net, and then the third one is the short version of the net. So I just placed it carefully on top of each other, and I started stitching. It took a very long time, because when I'm making my own outfits, I don't rush. So some people might be good rushing, but I do not enjoy working when rushing when I'm working. So I took my time to carefully place the arrangement, because I want to ensure that I have a very neat finishing. I don't want the finishing to be rough or not neat. So I just went on to do it all from one end to the other end. Don't forget that I'm still having the measurement at, and you can see the way I took my measuring tape to ensure that the measurement is equal. Whatever I'm going to be having on the net is what I'm having on the bridal satin as well. Everything has to be equal. So don't forget, our measurement is waist 21. So I went on to do that. I just attached it, and then I closely sealed the end, and I also took it to the weaving machine and I weaved. So at this point I was already done with the base of the skirt, so it's just left for me to build up on it. And by building up, I mean placing the ruffles on it. So one length of the skirt is longer, while the other one is short. So the next thing I went on to do at this point is to carefully run a gathered stitch on my net, and this was the part that took most of the time. It was quite stressful for a bit, but then you remember I told you that once you set your machine on gathers, you just keep flowing. It took time, actually, let me not lie. It took a lot of time. What I did here was place it on fold, and then I carefully run a gathered stitch, and after running that gathered stitch, I was going to gather it. So it is that gathered effect that will give you the scrunchies, the folded parts that will look, bunchy. So to get the best results, all you have to do is just keep running a gather stitch. If you remember when we were cutting this part, it's so long. Remember that we folded it into multiple layers so that we cut it all at once. So this was exactly what I did. I just folded it and then I cut, and then I was stitching it in on fold so that it will give me the best result, because I initially started stitching this individually, but it took me more time, and at the end of the day I just felt, okay, if I do it double, it will still bring out the result. All right, so this is the skirt part. So you can see it here, the skirt from one waist to another. You can see the way I did my inner layers of the net to give it the structure, to give it the form that I want, that umbrella look. In order to achieve the best ruffle, after you are done place running your gather stitch, just draw one thread, like one part of the thread that you use in stitching it. Just draw it and draw it to yourself. It's going to fold and give you the ruffle look. So that was how I achieved this, and I told you that it's in two layers. So the short layer at the top and the longer layer underneath. Then I took it to the ironing board. One thing about me is once I'm stitching, I am ironing. If you watch my previous videos, I stated that ironing is essential when you are making your garment. So at each stage of stitching, I take it to the ironing board, iron it out to smoothen all the lines and to give it a neat finishing. So I went on to iron right after that. I went on to take and the outer part of this cloth. I did it correctly because of the way I placed it. Some of the ruffles were bulging out, and it seems as though it was too big, more than what I needed. So all I just needed to do was to trim it out to make it even. So it's required that you also do that, so that one part will not be poking out and the other part is just not doing well. So it's just for me to have a rounded result, a rounded finishing, equal length of ruffles. It might be quite impossible to have equal length actually, but something close, so that when you're looking from afar, there wouldn't be a part that is bulging out more than the other. So that is what I used my scissors to do actually. Alright guys, at this point, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do now. Share this video if you find it helpful. Share it to someone that you know that would benefit from watching it. So the next thing I went on to do is to attach my zipper. So this dress has a zipper, so I went on to stitch my zipper line. You remember when we were cutting, we added our zipper allowance, which was 2 inches. I usually use 2 inches, sometimes I use 1.5, but most of the time I use my 2 inches for my zippers. So you can see that I weaved all the ends of this cloth. So what I did was to join the zipper line. Then after joining the zipper line, I carefully placed the zipper using the
So one thing
invisible
that helped me
zipping
quite
method.
well when I
So
was
that was what
fixing
I
the zipper
used
is
for
that
this
I
dress.
used the zipper foot that works for the invisible zip. So if you want to make a very good invisible zip styling, either with an invisible zip or with another zip that you want to bring out the invisible zip method, what you need in fact to bring the best is to use an invisible zipper foot. So I went on to change it and I used that invisible zipper foot, and it was really helpful. So at this point, the dress was already coming to life. It was giving what I wanted to see. And then I just needed to put accessories on it. So I used that gold chain accessory along the waistline. So I'm supposed to add a bow on that waist area. But before adding the bow, I needed to put the gold chain. So I used my gum. I used the glue gun to attach it, but it wasn't staying. So I used this whole liquid gum, and then it helped actually. So then after that, I also did the tacking with my hand. So this was just to do the first placement. Then I did the tacking with the thread and needle, and it stood very well. So after doing this one, I went ahead to place the bow line. So in the video, I did a 4 by 5 inches. So that was what I used for my bow, and then I folded it into a bow tie design, and I placed it at the center part of this dress. So it was just giving me the bow design that you love to see on girls' dresses. This is one of the accessories that always bring out the best when you're making a baby girl dress. A bow can never be wrong. Like, you can never go wrong with a bow, either at the side, at the top, at the waistline, or even as a headband. And at
So
the
that
end of
was
the
what
day,
I
this is
did
what we
here.
have. This is our dress. This is our beautiful ball dress for our beautiful baby celebrating our first birthday. Come on, look at the beauty. Look at this beauty. Everything is giving royalty, is giving blue. Yes, the sky is blue.
Alright guys, so this is the end product of this beautiful design made for a beautiful baby turning 1 year old. Alright, so this is wishing Benita happy birthday from Sim and Stitches. We love you and we celebrate you. May you have more years of peace. May you grow in wisdom, in knowledge and understanding. This outfit is just goes beyond the fabric. It's the outpour of the emotion. We completed this outfit within 3 days, and every of the team members, we worked together, and you can see in the video that I posted on my YouTube channel, it is very easy to craft. It's a very easy design that you can make. Okay.
Alright guys, thank you for staying tuned to this channel. I hope you enjoy watching this video, and I hope you have learned one or two tricks as a fashion designer. So this is going to be the end of this video. Alright, so please do well to share, like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. Yes, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, help us push this video, and thank you all for watching. Alright, cheerios.